Good morning. How are you today?
Good. You?
Good, good. Thank you so much. So today is our last class day. I mean, you've been doing very well throughout whole semester, and today is the last class day, which means we are going to finish this lecture and all the assignment. It's like a chapter 14 diagnosis of that paper. We are going to go over at the end of this lecture. So you need to submit this one. If you're watching my lecture, please upload yours through Blackboard. And one more thing is final exam will be next Thursday. So I will open in the morning, so you can take anytime you want on Thursday. And if you can do course evaluation for me and this class, that would be really great. You will see those in through the Blackboard. If you can do course evaluation for me, that would be great. Okay, so are you ready for the last chapter, which is like chapter 15? I'm excited and at the same time a little sad. Okay, I'm gonna miss you guys. So this is chapter 15. We've been talking about psychological disorder, and this Tuesday, I invited Dr. O'Malley, who has been practicing for a long time, the counseling and therapist as a therapist. So we learned a lot from her, and I will explain a little bit about history of treatment of psychological disorders. So when you're thinking about psychological disorders, you may think about anxiety, depression, bipolar, DID, schizophrenia, right? If somebody suffers psychological disorder, how can we help those people? And under that, we have psychotherapies for individual clients and psychotherapies for the group and family. So think about it. Maybe at a certain point, you may have some severe anxiety and depression. You have that, maybe having psychological some discomfort and disorder as well. So at that moment, what would you do? Maybe would you just kind of ignore those symptoms, or would you take medicine? Maybe would you try to get some therapy and counseling? So by yourself, like a one-on-one session, or maybe group, maybe 2 to 3 people, maybe it can be 10 people, or self-help group, which means there's not professional therapist, but meeting together and try to help each other. Have you ever heard about like AA, Alcohol Anonymous? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a professional therapist, but they do meet together. I realized not only once a week, there are so many sessions you can participate in the early morning, like a 6 a.m., and afternoon, like a 5 p.m. There are so many sessions. So you can go and talk together and share your experience and try to not to drink, yeah? And kind of encourage each other, yeah, because they have some those drinking issues, and maybe try to help each other. So we will talk about those therapies for the groups and families, and how well does psychotherapy work. So I want to ask you if Daniel, somehow at a certain point, if you suffer any depression and anxiety, would you like to get some professional help, like a therapy or a counseling service, or maybe taking a medicine?
If it's needed, yeah.
And you feel like maybe it's kind of, maybe I need to consider, yeah, mm-hmm. Since we will learn about psychological disorder, and we will talk about therapy. Just like if you broke your arm, you will see a doctor and try to fix it. And those, mental health is same thing too. If you suffer depression and anxiety, don't suffer by yourself. You need to ask help, and maybe you may take the medicine at the same time getting some therapy or counseling. It will help you. You don't need to do that for a long time, even like maybe 3 months and 4 months, and after that you feel better. And if you can do by yourself, you don't need to take any medicine or maybe counseling service, right? Yeah, so we will talk about that one. And biomedical therapies means basically you are taking medicine. So ideally, if somebody suffer depression, you need to see a doctor and taking some medicine at the same time getting some therapy. So it will help you to overcome that hard situation. Okay, so let's go. So history of treatment of psychological disorders. So in the past, if you do suffer depression and anxiety and bipolar and schizophrenia, people really fearful about those and afraid and kind of assume, oh, that person did something wrong. Maybe lots of sin, that's why. So even they try to practice making a hole on that scar and then let the evil spirit go out. They think in that way, not, cognitively right, consumption about having and suffer those psychological disorder. So it was really brutal and maybe blood all out because that's a bad blood. Yeah, so it was really terrible, honestly, kind of treating them to get better about, from those psychological disorder. So 1700 and try to reform, which means we need to consider more, try to help them, not kind of, shun and kind of afraid them. We need to help kind of get back to more normal life and try to take care of them. So several people like Philip Piner and Dorcia Dix, they try to establish some institution. At least there should be some hospital setting and maybe institution, let them kind of help to go to like a daily life and regular life. Yeah. So they try to thinking about, because there are only 1 or 2 hospital relating with the psychological disorder. But from that moment, people try to build those, medical, health, those, relating with some institution and health center, try to especially help those people who suffer psychological disorder. So that was good, but I want to say, currently we are more focusing on community care, which means, in the past, we didn't have any facility. So like 1700 and 1800, we tried to build those facilities for the people who suffer psychological disorder. But now we do have those facilities. Now we try to help them more like a community level, if it is possible, like anxiety and depression and bipolar, maybe through medication and also counseling. We can live together with those people unless you suffer very severe schizophrenia or maybe severe bipolar symptom, right? So not only sending them, oh, we did our job. Maybe I can check maybe my family maybe once a month and once a year. That's not right. If it is possible, we try to keep that person together in the family and community and try to help them to live well with us. Those are more like a new concept. So in the past, sending them to the facilities. But now it's more like let's embrace them and try to take care of each other. That's kind of changing view about people who suffer psychological disorder. So here, underline psychotherapy and biomedical therapy. Psychotherapy is, we've been talking about, if you suffer depression and anxiety, you may think about maybe I need to talk to somebody else, at least talk to somebody else. So those are psychotherapy. Talking therapy. When you say counselor, meeting your counselor and therapist, those are part of psychotherapy. And psychotherapists, which is counselor and therapist, they're gonna use a certain framework to get back onto the right track. And biomedical therapy is medication. So taking medicine and try to reduce those symptoms, those are biomedical therapy. Ideally, in an ideal situation, you need to have both psychotherapy and getting some counseling for your severe depression. At the same time, you need to take medicine. Yeah, so that would be really ideal. But who seeks psychotherapy? Honestly, I was born in South Korea, and when I was young, which means like elementary school and junior and high school, people seems like do not seek any like a therapy. Therapy was not kind of an option. If you do suffer some depression and anxiety, maybe something wrong with your will. Maybe you need to have more control and maybe strong your will and try to overcome. Why don't you overcome? Maybe reading books and maybe meditation, and you got this. More like that kind of the atmosphere, but not anymore. When you suffer any kind of anxiety and depression, people want to seek professional help. So it has been changed. It has been changed. Yeah. So nowadays the young generation, like students, they emailed me and Dr. Moon, I have a therapist appointment. Somehow it's kind of double booked, so I cannot be in your class. They kind of freely share their therapy session, and maybe because of that, maybe I can submit my assignment a little late. So they're kind of willing to share, which is good thing, kind of open, and just like maybe I need to see a doctor, I broke my leg. It's a kind of same thing. I do have some anxiety issue, so I need to get my medication. So that's why I cannot come to class today. So I got those email as well. So that means it's more like open and less stigmatized if you suffer any psychological disorder, which is a really great kind of move, right? Okay. So we are going to talk about major types of individual psychotherapy. First one is psychodynamic therapy. Do you remember psychoanalysis? Any like a scholar do you comes in your mind, like personality? We've been talking about psychoanalysis and unconsciousness, make the conscious, and so Freud, Sigmund Freud was the person who talked about psychoanalysis, those theory. So psychodynamic therapy is based on his theory, like a dream. So through dream, we cannot do in reality, but through dream, try to harm your brother because your brother maybe abuse you, maybe when you are young, possibly. So try to interpret those dreams too. So those are psychodynamic therapy. Yeah, that's one of the well-known individual therapy. And person-centered therapy. When you hear person, it was kind of beginning with a patient, kind of patient and doctor relationship, and patient and client. You're my client, like a therapy session client. Now, I want to say you are a person, more like a personalized, more like a warmth is there, kind of more individual, those kind of respect each other. So person-centered therapy based on the humanistic perspective, we will talk about that. And behavior therapy. Do you remember anything about behaviorism? Like a chapter, I think 6 was talking about classical conditioning and operant conditioning. So they do really focusing on something measurable and observable behavior. They are not interested too much about mental, kind of inside of your brain, right? So if you have a behavior therapy, how can we help your behavior? Let's just say you drink too much. Maybe you have some alcohol. Maybe alcoholism can be a big issue for you. How can we help you using behavior therapy? So change their behavior and maybe less and less drink those alcohol beverages. Yeah. So they are not focusing on change, try to your cognition or maybe illogical thinking. They're really focusing on your behavior, right? Yeah. So think about that. Maybe somebody suffer alcoholism. If you are using behavior therapy, how can we help that person? I mean, just
Hypnosis.
Huh?
Hypnosis.
Okay, so hypnosis, yeah. So behavioral therapy is try to help more like change your kind of right now those behavior. So maybe
the biomedical way or whatever. I know there is some pills that you can take that makes you sick and throw up if you drink alcohol.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
I think they do that in the army sometimes. Like it literally makes you like very nauseous if you drink alcohol.
Yeah, yeah, very good. That's very good real example. Very good, very good. So, I mean, the behavior therapy wise, maybe you can say, I want to drink. Maybe you need to maybe associate with some better one. Maybe call your friends, best friend, or something you really enjoy. Maybe you need to play with your dog. Whenever you feel like, I want to drink, so instead of focusing on those, I want to kind of long for the drinking, maybe you need to play with your favorite dog. maybe kind of touching your dog and kind of feel like some softness. So try to kind of change your behavior, and little by little and less maybe you can drink. Yeah. So depending on those perspective, maybe as a therapist, they may approach differently to try to help you, right? Okay. So let's go one by one. So starting from psychodynamic therapy, we've been talking about Freud concept, and he really emphasized early childhood experience to form personality, and also unconsciousness was really important because maybe something wrong as an adult right now. Maybe you kind of went through some like abused, maybe some trauma was going on. It's still there unconsciously. So when you are suffering right now, you have a hard time to have a close relationship with your spouse, maybe based on those unreserved, unconscious your thinking and thought. Maybe your parents doesn't treat you right when you are young. Maybe that can be the main reason to suffer those, having a close relationship with your spouse or partner. So let's thinking about, let you kind of remember about unconsciousness to conscious level. So let's cure about let go of your unconsciousness of maybe unhealthy, those thoughts and emotion, and then making some conscious. That's the reality. Maybe that's why. So that's kind of major therapy kind of function. So psychoanalysis to make the unconscious to conscious. Since their basic theory is really focusing on people we do suffer any psychological disorder because of those unconscious, maybe early childhood experience in the past. Let's thinking about what was wrong, and let's kind of cure about those early childhood experience. So unconscious, make those unconscious to conscious. Now, maybe that's why. Maybe let go of those relationships. Your parents already died. Yeah. So you maybe just kind of, embrace that part and then love yourself and maybe try to have another good relationship with your partner or spouse. So unconscious, make those, let that person know unconscious to the conscious. So help the client become more aware of their thoughts and feelings of which he or she was unaware at the beginning of the therapy. So through those therapy sessions, help them to get back to their right track. So nowadays, we are using more psychodynamic therapy, not only too much focusing on time, like unconsciousness of your past, more focusing on client current life, what's really going on, what really matter to do not have a close relationship with your partner. So current relationship, maybe it can be too much stress at working situation. Maybe the relationship was between you're both and you right now. That's why maybe you can have a healthy relationship between you and your partner or spouse. So basically their approach is try to make unconscious any like your feeling and reserve emotion to conscious. Maybe try to help you why you suffer, maybe because of those. Okay, and the next one, as a part of those therapy, free association. Maybe let's try that one. Free association. Can you maybe say whatever it comes in your mind without any sensory? Maybe you can say Red Bull, maybe coffee, and any words, and without any censoring. Just like say, maybe whatever you comes into your mind right now. I know. Umbrella. Yeah, very good. So I think it's kind of challenging, but those are through free association. What's really happening, maybe try to relating like help you make unconscious to the conscious. Part of the tool was free association. So can you tell me what's really happening and comes into your mind? Can you say maybe some episode and in words? And that can be part of the psychodynamic therapies technique. And dream analysis. They try to understand what kind of dream was going on, understand interpreting those dreams. I know, Daniel, you have some sleeping problem. Recently, do you have any dream, or maybe you do not remember?
I've had I don't know. I think my sleeping's not very good. I sleep light a lot, and then whenever I do finally get in a deep sleep and I start dreaming or whatever, I'll get woke up to my alarm and then I forget my dream. So
Yeah, it's really hard to remember, right? Yeah. So, I mean, the psychodynamic theories perspective, they try to interpret your dream because they do believe a dream can be part of unconsciousness. So, you cannot do in reality, try to hit your brother, maybe harm your brother, but through dream, maybe you play with your brother and sneak in his room and try to maybe beat your brother because you kind of revenge on that. Maybe early childhood experience can be. So interpret it in that way, uncomfortableness in reality between you and your brother. But through dream, you can kind of, let your unconscious emotion. Yeah, so they try to interpret those dreams. So one of the dream analysis can be part of their technique. So another thing is like a transference when you talk together. Just like here, this person is talk to the therapist, and at certain point, as like a person who gets some therapy can talk together with the therapist. At certain point, oh, Father, why did you leave me when I was 5 years old? I really want to be with me, but I was so young, but I could not talk to you directly. But, just like a transferring those experiences, somehow talking together, like a deep conversation and thinking about your therapist, just like treat them as your father. So you kind of talk about what you really want to say to your past father. So that can be through part of the process of therapy as well. Yeah, those are transference and therapists to behave like an important person, maybe father or mother, when that person was young, didn't care about him or her, and then left. And they want to talk of how could you do that to me, and then resolve those conflicts. So those are more like a transference. Okay, so that was one of the therapy perspective. Let's talk about person-centered therapy. So person-centered therapy is based on the Carl Rogers, which is a humanism and humanistic perspective, and respect you. So this therapy especially really let you lead that therapy. So as a therapist, they usually listen to and just to support. They do not lead you a certain direction. This one is more like respect you, just listening. Very good listening therapist. So people have, because they do believe, people have capacity themselves to overcome problem. Do you believe in that way? Yeah, people have their person who need to resolve those conflicts eventually. So as a therapist, they're more like a facilitator, kind of supporter. They're not leading you to go any direction. So those are person-centered. So you are the center. You are the person. I will, try to help you. So you will lead the session. So it's a non-directive therapy. So comparing to psychodynamic and psychodynamic therapists, they have their intention to let unconscious to conscious, right? They have an intention and try to interpret your dream. But this person-centered therapy is really focusing on you. You are the person who will lead this session, and because we believe you have your ability to cure this psychological disorder. So here, on the line, there are 3 things really important when you do person-centered therapy. Empathy. Try to put yourself in somebody else's shoe. Do you feel like you have a pretty good high empathy to other people? Yeah. Unconditional positive regard means no matter what, I will listen to you. I will support you, and I trust you. That kind of attitude. And genuineness. When you talk to somebody else, you may feel that person is really listening to me versus that person is kind of faking. I mean, as a human being, we can sense, right? Yeah. So maybe you can think about, can we maybe add 1 or 2 more? As a good therapist, that person should have a good empathy, maybe unconditional positive support, and genuineness. What else if we want to add? If you want to kind of add for the, maybe therapist, they should have this quality, maybe some elements.
Well, yeah, genuineness covers a lot of it. I mean, because I was going to say honesty.
Honesty,
and some other
yes.
stuff, but that's under genuine. If you're genuine, you're honest, and
Yeah.
you know all of that. So I don't know. I mean, I think there could be some other ones, but I think genuine's a pretty broad term.
Okay, yeah. So remember, those are three elements person-centered therapy they try to promote. Yeah, and that's really important things when you have a one-on-one or maybe one to other people of group therapy session. They really emphasize those three elements. I think that's really important and cover a lot, right? Yeah. Okay. So empathy and unconditional regard and genuineness, that's really matter. Yeah, we talked together about those. So here, let's go to the behavior therapy. So behavior therapists, they really emphasize outside, kind of changing those behavior and try to help that person get to the right track. So here, no emphasis on the mental processes affecting their behavior. They really try to change kind of outside their behavior. So we kind of talk a little bit about those, and maybe changing some frequency of drinking, changing some frequency of smoking. How can we help, right? So it's more like we can kind of count, and then we do see a more observable result, right? Instead of keep talking and unconscious to the conscious, and sometimes it's really hard to tell, right? But when you kind of adjust, whenever you really want to drink, you need to play with your puppy. So you could reduce the amount of drinking, maybe 10 to 9, maybe 10 to 7. So we do care about those observable and countable behavior. Those are more like the behavior therapy. So underline, one of the element of the behavior therapy is exposure. Underline exposure. So honestly, I have a fear whenever I drive a highway, especially if I've never been there. It's really challenging for me. So I was asking, person who do like a lot of therapy and counseling, what should I do? I have a severe kind of fear whenever I drive in the highway. Local way is fine. I mean, like local fine. Highway, what should I do? And that person say, you know what, Sarah, you need to go and you need to expose again and again, because if you, let's just say you are doing some bungee jumping and you get some like a panic attack and you're really fearful, that means you don't need to do bungee jumping because you don't need to for your life, right? But my case, I need to drive. In the United States, there's not, like for public transportation, not much. I mean, we have a bus, but, whenever you go somewhere else, you need to drive. That means you need to go to the highway and expose. I know you may feel like very anxious and fearful, but you may kind of drive maybe 1 mile and then exit. And then breathing exercise and try to get back to like a highway and then ride on. So try to practice at least maybe 1 or 2 times per week. Just exposure, that environment. It's really hard. So do you have anything maybe serving in army situation? Probably you can be fear at certain situation, but you need to be there anyway, kind of exposed, possibly? Because that's really some fearful situation.
We did live fire where you had to get used to bullets and stuff flying around you. So you were pretty much low crawling underneath this barbed wire and razor wire and stuff. And then people on the other side of the field were firing rounds above your head. And you just had to get from one side to the other. But it was exposure, trying to get you used to having that type of stuff and get through there without worrying about getting shot.
I know, but it can be really scary at the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah, it was fun though. It was very fun.
It was fun for you. Yeah. So I know some people, driving can be really fun. Like a highway is like, oh, I really love it, listening to my favorite music and then I'm on the road, right? But for me, it's really a scary thing. Yeah. So exposure can be the one of the therapy, but we want to kind of expose gradually if it is possible. So I have some example here. Let's say you have a high anxiety toward a dog. I know you love dog, and I used to have some anxiety and fear, but not, I'm much better, but still like a little bit, but much better. So in that case, let's say I still have a high anxiety toward the dog, let's say. So number one exposure is visualizing a dog on a leash far away. I mean, this is like my dog. Always we kind of do like a visualize. So actually, you don't have any dog nearby. Kind of imagine, visualize a dog on a leash far away. And thinking about that, somebody have some anxiety and very special fear, panic attack toward like a spider, and maybe snake. Yeah, those are phobia, right? So if I say even like a snake and spider and clown, some students they just kind of put their hands on their ears because they don't want to hear that word clown. Is it clown okay to you? I mean, to me, somehow it's okay. Yeah, you don't scare much. Yeah. So, but I know some of the students, I realize they really hate the clown, even though I somehow I explain about, the clown and this, and she said, Dr. Moon, can you not say clown because that makes me really anxious. Yeah. So, okay. So I realized for some people, even kind of hearing maybe dog. Hearing can be like a kind of little panic attack, like a highway. Sarah, you need to drive a highway. I mean, unless I'm kind of on that highway and driving, I feel okay. But some people can be. So starting from visualizing, imagining a dog on a leash far away. That's the first step. So if that person is okay, and maybe you need to listen to whenever you kind of imagining, listen to your favorite music. So Daniel, what is your favorite kind of comforting music for you? What kind of maybe music?
Comforting? I don't even know what you would call it.
Okay, just kind of maybe country music or
say rock.
Rock music? Yeah, rock music. Okay. Yeah, for me, like somehow classical music because I didn't have a choice. When I was young, my dad, he was really big fan of classical music kind of listener. So he, right now everything is like Apple Music, but used to be cassette tape. Yeah, and those LP, like big kind of fan, and CD. So we had a lot of cassette tape, I remember, and like those LP as well. So whenever I go back home, he listened to classical music. So somehow classical music is really kind of soothing me because I become adult, because I used to hear. I really like to listen to maybe other, not rock music, honestly, but like a country music and other soft music like a ballad, but that was not my choice. But somehow kind of growing up listening to classical music, and now I become adult, whenever I listen to classical music when I drive, it makes me kind of calming down. It's kind of like a good soothing music for me. So here, let's say second one, visualize a dog on a leash nearby. You have to imagine nearby, but listen to your rock music. Comfortable music. Yeah, kind of associate with a good thing. And third one is visualization on unleashed dog nearby. So it's still in imagination, not in real situation, but listen to rock music because rock music makes you happy, right? And number 4, hearing a dog bark in the next room. Woof, woof. Like a next room. So you may get kind of a little closer, maybe your heartbeat goes up, but listen to your rock music because rock music makes you comfortable and happy, right? And number 5, singing a dog through a window. The dog is kind of bark at you, but keep listening to your favorite music, rock music. So through good association, So looking at the dog and hearing the dog's barking sound and standing in the same room with the dog 20 feet away, same room. Finally, dog is in this room, right? And standing in the same room with the dog 3 feet away, kind of getting closer. But keep listening your rock music and being happy and try to associate. Dog is okay and kind of keep approaching to you, but not bite you, right? So it will be okay. And here, petting a dog for 1 second and 10 seconds and 1 minute. And associate with your comfortable, those rock music. Or maybe eating your favorite food, goulash. If it is okay, maybe try to associate good thing with you because you're really scared of a dog. So those are exposure, behavioristic perspective. Do you feel like it kind of makes sense? Yeah? Try to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Depends on if what you're afraid of is actually dangerous or not. You're not going to want to expose yourself of it.
Sure, sure, yeah, sure.
It's like, all right, here's a black widow on your hand.
Oh,
How
oh.
are you scared? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
I know. It's a poison. It was poisonous. Okay, but exposure therapy is one of the behaviorism perspective. So here, so we want to say systematic desensitization. So imagination first, and then kind of closer to you, and then you literally touch. Those are desensitization, more like a step by step, right? Yeah. Okay. So here, token economy. We've been talking about that one. Basically, when you come to my class, I'm gonna give you one candy. Would you like to come to my class? You did a great job. Yeah, kind of giving some token. So client earn tokens that are exchangeable for reward when they perform some target behavior. So Daniel, this week you drink only 5 bottles of wine. Maybe I'm gonna give you 1 token. So if you collect all the token at the end of a month, maybe you can redeem for your favorite maybe electronic gear, maybe some iPad, maybe iPhone, those are things, right? So try to kind of associate whenever you are doing some ideally and desirable behavior, you will receive those tokens. Yeah. So maybe it can be money, maybe it can be some ticket. Yeah, it can be with some, some food. Yeah, those are token economy relating with the behavioristic perspective. So cognitive therapy. So thinking about that cognition, we want to change your illogical thinking. That's not right. Yeah, that's not right. Yeah. So illogical thinking. Maybe somebody is really afraid of dog. Yeah. Behaviorist perspective, expose. You need to expose. Imagination first, and then one by one, maybe you need to touch. Those are exposed, right? If you're afraid of a dog, maybe try to change your illogical thinking to logical thinking. Dogs are really friendly animals. You need to change your perspective. Dog will not bite you unless you harm the dog, right? So maybe I want to ask you, because since you have a dog, does your dog bite other people like strangers?
She's terrific. She's terrifying. And
No.
She is one of those dogs that will lick you to death.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a golden retriever, so she's not gonna do anything.
Yeah. So we need to change that concept. I mean, I do afraid a little dog. I mean, I could be friendly, but deepest in my mind, maybe that dog can bite me. But I need to change my illogical thinking. That's not right.
With my dog.
Yeah. So I need to change, right? Yeah. So those are cognitive therapy. Change the way you think about life events. So dogs are very friendly and playful and, very caring and very faithful and maybe a trustworthy kind of animal, right? So when you're thinking about more positive way, maybe you may have a better reaction toward the dog. So actually cognitive behavior therapy, you change your illogical thinking to the logical thinking, and then try to change your behavior. Maybe try to be more open-minded and even touch the dog, right? Yeah.
Maybe at some point you could get so used to dogs that by the time you're like a little bit older, you can have your own dog.
Yeah, that's
Try and work on that.
Yeah,
Try and get your own dog.
on dog.
Your own dog before
It's totally different than somebody else's dog versus your own dog, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows what it's like to have a dog until they have a dog, but I think if you were able to get past your fear of dogs, you would fall in love with your first dog.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
Guarantee, yeah. I mean, somebody told me, Sarah, I can give you a cat. I have so many little cats.
Do a dog.
Do the dog. Okay, do the dog. Yeah, I kind of say thank you, but no, thank you. Yeah, so there was like a cat, but dog, nobody offered it yet.
Get you a miniature golden retriever.
The smaller size.
The smaller golden retriever, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I should have. Maybe that can be my ultimate goal to cure my anxiety
Maybe.
about the dog. Okay, thank you. So here, let's talk about, that's the part of cognitive therapy. Try to change your thought. So your irrational and illogical beliefs and thought become more rational and logical thinking. So ABCDE model, cognitive therapy. This is like an example how the other therapists kind of try to help you. So A, B, C, D, E. Those are A, B, C, D, E model of cognitive therapy. So we just want to see and check on that. So here, somehow your heart was pounding when I got to my seat at the concert. You are in the concert situation. You didn't pay lots of money, so your seat is kind of very high and kind of in a stilted way. So B is probably I'm having heart attack. And C, consequences of anxiety and panic attack. What should I do? But actually dispute your heart. My seat was way up in the nosebleed section, so it's normal for my heart to pound a little after all that stair kind of climbing. So you kind of go up, climbing those stairs, and your seat is kind of high, so you may kind of be having your heartbeat kind of go up, but you feel like I have a panic attack, maybe some problem. Instead of those illogical and irrational thinking, try to think about, no, Sarah, you are totally okay. You just kind of come up so quickly, and this is like high enough. That's why your heartbeat is going up. So I'm fine. It's just a slightly stronger heartbeat, but it will go away if I stay here a couple of more minutes. So try to adjust through those A, B, C, D, E model of cognitive therapy. So basically, try to change your illogical thinking to logical thinking, more irrational thinking to rational thinking. So those are cognitive therapy. Okay, let's talk about group therapy. So my question is, Daniel, somehow in your future, you have a chance to get therapy. Let's say you may have some anxiety and depression issue. So, you took my class. Oh, Dr. Moon told me whenever you need that, probably I need to talk to maybe a doctor, medical doctor, and get some help. Yeah, and then maybe taking some medicine. At the same time, I want to get some therapy. Those are psychotherapy, right? Would you like to have one-on-one session therapy? Or I think group therapy will be okay, maybe less intimidating, and also maybe less cost money. So I'd rather choose group therapy. Or maybe I will talk maybe one-on-one, individual, those therapy session would work better. So which one would you choose?
Depends on, what it's about, but say for example, if it was with my wife or something, maybe I'd do what is that, group therapy with two people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do group therapy, and then I'd probably slide the guy a little extra money and say I was right or something. But just messing around. But yeah, if it's like an AA or something like that, it probably just depends on, I guess, what it was for, but I could do the group therapy or something too.
So it's not a big deal, maybe one-on-one and also maybe group. It doesn't matter. It's really depending on the case.
Depends on, I guess, how embarrassing the situation would be. If it's just alcohol or something, then maybe I would do a group
AA.
Therapy or something, and then if it was something more embarrassing, maybe I would do one-on-one.
I see. That's a really good point. I've never thought of it in that way. Maybe some alcohol problem, but recently you develop, you want to get some group therapy. How can I reduce? Even you don't need to pay that money if you join AA, those Alcohol Anonymous, those in a group, even though there's a therapist, kind of people get together and there's a leader and they lead maybe reading some, good words together and appreciate each other and respect each other and let's not drink this week and something like that, right? So group therapy and also self-help group can be more ideal when you're having some a light amount of suffering, some alcohol problem, right? Yeah, in that case. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So actually, maybe if you and your spouse has some problem, group therapy, part of that is a family therapy too, because your family, maybe you have some adolescent child, and recently that person kind of some behavior issues at school. Yeah, in that case, normally maybe those some delinquent behavior, it's not only for the teenager's problem. It can be some family issues, maybe some argument going on all the time. And recently those parents, they almost divorced. Yeah, so it's really hard to get well together at the family. So they really need to have some family therapy. right? It's not individual problem. It's kind of all connecting problem as well. So in that sense, we will have a family therapy as a group therapy session. Okay. So here, does psychotherapy work? How do you think? Do you think psychotherapy would work?
It depends on the person.
Depending on the
Whether
person.
really wants to change, or how dedicated they are, or you know, or really how bad they are, you know, because if they're really bad, then you know, you don't know. You
Sure.
don't know if it'll help. But yeah, I mean, I think it should help. It just, you're gonna want it to have to, or you are going to have to want it to help. You know what I mean? You can't just go and not want it to help and expect
Sure.
it to go well.
Yeah. So statistically, we need to trust that one too. So about like 80% of people who got those therapy and counseling session, they much better handling their psychological disorder. So I know some of you're watching my lecture. Maybe recently you having some developing depression issue and anxiety. It is okay to get some professional help. I know it can be cost and maybe cost some money, but there are so many like a zero cost counseling service as well. So if you are RSU students, you can connect with Timely Care. It's an online counseling and therapy session. So if you go to RSU website, you can kind of click the Timely Care, and then you can connect it with a professional counselor and therapist, several sessions for free for sure. Yeah, and then you get some resource for free too. So there are so many free those counseling and therapy session and resource as well. So do not suffer by yourself. And you know, statistically, if you get those therapy and counseling session, you feel better. You will be much better. That's the kind of outcome. So please do not suffer by yourself. That's I want to kind of say, talking about this chapter. So here, this is really great question. I think recently we have so many like social media and electronic device and even AI and cyber therapy. What do you think about like a cyber therapy? Instead of meeting one-on-one in person, would you maybe prefer, do you feel like is it okay to meet the therapist like a cyber, like through Zoom meeting and team meeting, those online sessions? How do you think about that?
Especially if you're busy or something. I mean, it definitely said that people that are, I don't know, that females or wealthier people or something, they're more likely to go into therapy. But I'm sure some of them are going to be really, really busy and have to work around that. So, you know, you can do those cyber things pretty much at any time if it's scheduled.
Very good. So if you have a chance to choose between cyber therapy and in-person therapy, what would be your option?
It would just depend. I
Okay.
mean, probably in person would probably be the best way, but like it just would depend on what it was over or how busy I was. Right now, I'd have to do it online because I'm 7 days a week busy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Because that's one of the real reflection paper topic. I know due day of your extra reflection paper, if you're planning to, today is the due day by 11:59 p.m. But that was the one of the question. Would you prefer maybe cyber therapy or in-person therapy if you may suffer some psychological disorders? So you can kind of, so far those are good maybe content, maybe kind of writing down. That can be your option. So, the benefit just kind of, he explained very well, time-wise, and you don't need to drive. If you're really having some anxiety, go to highway and then drive. You don't need to have any of those hassle. Just kind of turn on your device and then meet your therapist at one spot. And it's easier, maybe time-saving and money-saving as well. And the effectiveness is really similar. Based on those research. So I guess you will get the similar, but honestly, maybe those facial expression and those kind of one-on-one, like a human to human, maybe you may have more maximize those benefits. So if you do have a time, maybe one-on-one can be best, but we are so busy, so cyber therapy is still working as well. Okay. So, let's thinking about virtual reality exposure therapy. So that can be the one of the thing. Do you really like the virtual reality game? I did one time. I kind of wearing those like a mask shaped kind of device, and those like a game. It was like my friend's house, and she has her son is playing those in a virtual reality game all the time. So I need to. It was like some alien. I need to shoot all the alien, but it looks like really real because I need to wear those virtual reality glasses, I guess, and then I need to kind of shoot and those. I did so well, and then everybody's amazed. Sarah, you are kind of born killer about killing all the aliens, but I guess it's. Though, have you ever done those virtual reality? Yeah, it's really like real, right? You feel like a dizzy and kind of showing those scene and yeah. So what was that? I kind of hear from you. What was your virtual reality game? I know you like to do some game, right? Play game.
It was more like a first-person shooter, kind of like that. But there's like a battle royale version of it. But I have found to get headaches with.
Oh yeah, I feel very dizzy. Yeah,
with
very
3D
dizzy.
stuff. So like 3D movies in the theaters gave me a headache. Virtual reality games gave me a headache. So I really don't do them, but I've tried them and I thought they were pretty real feeling. Yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
yes, yeah. So that was like a first and maybe last time a couple of years ago, and I feel like very dizzy. I was kind of feeling like on the one of the planet, and then aliens tried to attack me, so I need to shoot them, and it was so real, right? So we can use those virtual reality system for curing somebody who suffers social anxiety. So somebody who suffers social anxiety, they have a really hard time, maybe talk to somebody else and even having some good eye contact. So in virtual reality setting, it's maybe somebody having some Christmas party. So you need to sit on that table and then try to talk to somebody else who is next to you. How are you? And what's your name? So they can be trained through those virtual reality, those in a system. Yeah. So it can be one of the therapy. So here, biomedical therapies. Finally, biomedical therapies, those are medication. If you suffer anxiety and depression, not only getting those therapy, maybe counseling, you need to take the medicine because it will help you get cure and resolve those conflict much efficient way. So medication, I'm not going to talk about too detailed about all the medicine, but that's the really important. Depending on your symptom, antipsychotic drugs and anti-anxiety drugs, antidepressant drugs, and mood stabilizing drugs. There are so many different kind of drugs. So when you meet your doctor, psychiatrist, maybe that person will prescribe you a certain drug, and somehow it doesn't work to you. It's okay. Maybe you have some digestion problem you cannot concentrate on. You need to talk to that person. You need to talk to the doctor and change other kind of prescriptive drugs. So try to find the right amount and try to find the right medicine. That's the really key thing when we're thinking about biomedicine department, medication to help for your psychological disorder. Okay, so this one is ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. If you suffer very, very severe depression, it can be really challenging. Yeah, recently I watched some YouTube, and that person is really well-known medical doctor, family medical doctor in Korea, and she was really bold and tried to explain she has been suffer depression for a long, long time. It's not like a 1 year and 2 year things, like from very, very young age. So she got those electroconvulsive therapy so many times because it was so severe. Basically, those electric current is passing through your brain, kind of having those, awakening. Yeah. So kind of wake you up, right? Yeah, through those electronic kind of converse. So passing those electronic current through your brain and help you suffer from depression. So it's usually used for severe depression. Maybe medication doesn't work and counseling doesn't work and any strong medication doesn't work. Maybe as a last phase, doctor will order you to those electroconvulsive therapy. But next one, underline, it will be on your exam, TMS. So treatment like a transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is like a less having less side effect comparing to like ECT, but it's also used for the severe depression. If you suffer severe depression, it's not putting electrode inside of your brain, more like outside. So outside, electric current repeatedly pulses through a pedal shaped magnetic coil. So kind of pulse and pulse, try to kind of wake you up, maybe suffering from your depression. So there are last phase of treating those psychological disorder. So last one will be psychosurgery. But honestly, we do not often do those psychosurgery unless it's really necessary. Yeah. So usually therapy and medication and those for the depression, some electrode kind of things kind of inside of your brain, outside your brain, try to kind of pulse and kind of stimulate your brain. But psychosurgery does not happen, but it is happen. Usually you are kind of waking, kind of conscious, but try to kind of fix your brain in that way. So we've been talking about all different kind of therapy today. Yeah. So this is like our last slide. So if you have those paper, let's figure it out. Because since this is your to-do things, yeah, you need to submit by today. Let's do. So if you have, what is your diagnosis? Since we've been talking about depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, so many symptoms of psychological disorders. And then today we've been talking about therapy, right? So if you're kind of looking at the back side of this paper, it says dissociative amnesia, schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, bipolar disorder, alcohol abuse, agoraphobia, panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, depressive disorders, and dissociative identity disorder. So thinking about that, those things should be at least one time of each, those 10 cases. So I will give you time, couple of maybe minute, and let's try to answer together. So don't worry about it. If you miss the answer, I will talk together. So don't worry about it, but just do your best. Since we've been learning about this psychological disorder and therapy for 2 weeks. Okay? So if you're watching my lecture, think about it. I know some of you already submitted through the Blackboard, so which is really great. But if you haven't done that, maybe this is a great chance to think about it. There are 10 episodes. And somebody who suffers psychological disorder, and there are 10 answers about those diagnoses. So maybe thinking about number one case, what would be like a specific diagnosis? So there are list of the diagnoses: dissociative amnesia, schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, bipolar disorder, alcohol abuse, agoraphobia and panic disorder, and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, depressive disorders, depression, and dissociative identity disorder, DID. So thinking about that, if you are a counselor and if you are a therapist, and maybe somebody who came to you and I do have this symptom and suffer, so I cannot sleep well, what would be your decision to diagnose that person? So don't worry about it. I mean, some of the case, it can be either possibly you can kind of, depression. But when you kind of read more closely, that person suffer like a bipolar, very extreme, like a mood change, high versus low. So instead of depression, you may think about, those are person suffering bipolar. Okay, yeah. So you, Daniel, you're almost done. Yeah, you're done. You feel like because we've been talking about psychological disorder, you feel comfortable to those? Yeah. Okay, good. So if you don't mind, could you read number one scenario?
Sometimes seems very wound up. At those times, he seems full of energy, talks very rapidly, and makes very grandiose plans. One time, he gave away all of his belongings and was planning to move to Washington, D.C. so he could advise the president. At these times, he also seems to need almost no sleep. During other periods of time, Tony seems very down. During these times, he does not take care of himself. He seems to want sleep all the time, and he often makes thinly veiled references to wanting to commit suicide.
Okay. There are 10 diagnostic kind of example. What would you categorize him into? Certain Bipolar? Yeah, because he seems like very extreme, high energy and very low energy and could not do anything. When you kind of depressed, you may think about even like a suicide. Yeah, so that's really hard. Yeah, it can be really severe. Maybe Tony need to get professional help for sure. Yeah, not only therapy, maybe some medication too, right? Yeah. Okay, good. How about number two? If you don't mind, could you read?
Emily often drinks too much, especially at parties. She has gotten 2 DUIs after leaving parties. She is also in danger of losing her job because she often misses work on Monday due to a hangover after partying on the weekend.
Okay.
Alcohol abuse.
Alcohol abuse, yeah, thank you. So DUI means driving under the influence, usually alcohol and other drugs. So she already got those tickets and having some problems. So obviously she's suffering alcohol abuse. Okay, number 3, Paula. Could you read? Yes.
Yeah, Paula has not left her house for several months. When she tries to go out, she experiences great anxiety. She says she is afraid that if she leaves her house to go somewhere, she will not be able to get back. Before all this started, Paula seems fairly normal except for having several episodes where for no apparent reason her heart started pounding as she started to sweat profusely and she experienced all the symptoms of fear and terror. One of the reasons she is afraid to leave the house is because she is afraid she will have one of these episodes again.
Okay, so what would be her symptom?
Panic disorder or agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia. So it's maybe if you suffer agoraphobia, you feel like maybe the new place, some open area like a parking lot, you feel like a sudden fear, and I'm dying and I don't know what to do. So I mean, sometimes as a human being, when you go somewhere else, like a totally new place, you feel like a little anxious. I mean, I do anxious too. For example, I went to Washington, D.C. for the conference 2 weeks ago, and it's a totally different vibe. Honestly, it was downtown. Conference was downtown. I went to National Mall, that area. It's a totally different. So I feel like it's good. At the same time, I feel like overwhelmed. But like maybe my heartbeat is a little going up. That's a totally normal. But some people have very severe anxiety, and heartbeat goes so way high up, and feeling like I'm dying. Yeah, I don't know what to do. So those are more like agoraphobia slash like a panic disorder. So you did a great job. Thank you so much. How about number 5?
Horace sleeps a lot, has great difficulty getting out of bed in the morning, and generally does not want to do anything. He has stopped seeing friends whom he used to see often and declines all invitations to do things socially. His most common response is, "I just don't feel like it." He looks sad all the time and does not seem to take pleasure in everyday activities. This has been going on for the past 2 months.
Yeah, how was it?
Depressive disorder.
Yeah, depressive disorder. So it's really tough because very low desire and motivation. Doesn't want to do anything. So big problem is those people who suffer severe depression, they don't want to go out of their bed. They just want to stay and sleep and sleep and sleep. Yeah, thank you. How about number 5?
Patricia is a 44-year-old female who reports that she has periods of time where she cannot remember what she has done. She reports that after one such period, she received a telephone call from a man who claimed to have met her in a bar where she was the life of the party. She had also told the man her name was Priscilla. Patricia thinks that is odd because she does not drink and she is rather shy and retiring person. However, the man had her correct telephone number and was able to give a good physical description of her.
Okay, what would be the answer?
Dissociative personality disorder.
Okay, very good. I mean, it's really rare, like less than 1%, but population-wise, but it's still there existing, right? It can be very severe psychological disorder, definitely medication and counseling together, right? Okay, thank you so much. You're doing so good. How about number 6?
Marianne is a 34-year-old female showing signs of disorganized thought and flat affect. She says that she hears voices telling her to do things. She believes that her behavior is being controlled by other people, and she thinks that all her former friends have formed a conspiracy and are out to get her. She also tends towards repetitive, highly ritualized behavior, such as schizophrenia.
Yeah, it's really severe, very severe psychological disorder. The first symptom is you do hear voice. That's the hallucination, and that's the number one thing if you suffer schizophrenia. So thank you so much. Thank you. How about Zachary?
Zachary is a 17-year-old male who appears boastful, conceited, and arrogant. When someone accuses him of being that way, he flies into a rage. He shows little care for others and is often envious when others are recognized for their achievements. He also is prone to daydreaming and fantasizing about the success that waits him.
Okay.
Narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah. Have you ever met those people nearby, like very narcissistic, and they always boastful and overconfident? And yeah. So now maybe you can kind of think of maybe that person had some maybe issues, maybe part of maybe psychological disorder. Maybe that person may not realize, but it can be categorized into narcissistic personality disorder, right? Okay. How about number 8, Sandy?
Sandy feels dirty until she bathes and changes clothes at least 4 times a day, and she is fastidious about the house as well. Every room is scrubbed at least twice a week, and the bathroom is taken care of daily. OCD.
Yeah, I mean the cleaning house is really good, but too much can be
4 times a day
yeah,
is crazy.
4 times. Yeah, what you need to do other things, right? Yeah, so it can be really challenging, but I'm sure her house is always clean, which is a good thing.
Eat food off the floor.
Okay, thank you. How about number 9?
Although he was not personally injured, Harry has had problems since the earthquake 2 years ago. He is listless listless and quarrelsome, and sleeps fitfully, reliving the quake in nightmarish dreams, PTSD.
Yeah, so even it's not happening right now, but after that, you still suffer and you cannot sleep well. So those are related with the PTSD. We talk about, not exactly chapter 14, but before, we talk about PTSD. Okay, number 10 is our last, episode. So could you read?
Frank was attending college in San Francisco during a recent earthquake. He lived in the area that was hit hardest by the quake. Frank was not home when the earthquake hit and was not injured in any way, but when he returned home, he found his building demolished and his 2 roommates crushed to death. Frank immediately drove himself to the airport, bought a ticket to Boston, and got on the plane. His parents found him on their doorstep in Boston the next morning. Frank remembers nothing about the earthquake and nothing about going to college in San Francisco. The last thing he remembers is being a high school student and living with his parents in Boston. Amnesia.
Yes.
Or the dissociative amnesia.
Yes, dissociative amnesia. I guess maybe almost like intentionally doesn't want to remember anything, those, horrible things, right? Yeah. So those are dissociative, like amnesia. And you got all the answers correct. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more, like you were saying, nowadays they're a lot more, they push those disorders out a lot more, so people know about them now, they know about all the different types now.
Yeah. So maybe it can be a good thing and also maybe too much things too. That's one of the example of the DSM. Do you still remember the DSM? What does DSM stand for? Those are like a little Bible, all different kind of psychological disorder, diagnostic,
Diagnostics, some
statistical,
DSM. Hold on, what's the N?
diagnostic and statistical manual
the manual.
of mental disorder. So people find a new type of psychological disorder. Let's put it into our book. Kind of more and more. Binge eating was not one of the category, like eating too much in certain food kind of continuously, but kind of adding on like a recent revision. So kind of starting from 106. Category of those disease. Now it's much, much more, right? So, awareing is good thing. Awareing is good thing because we are more sensitive and try to people who suffer psychological disorder, not only psychological disorder, any kind of, some uncomfortableness, like some medical issues, right? It's good, like ADHD. Maybe people we do not know much about ADHD, but nowadays at maybe school setting, teacher will recommend the parents, maybe you need to test about ADHD. I feel like your son and daughter doesn't concentrate on, maybe it can be possibly, maybe your son or daughter suffer ADHD. But in the past, we do not diagnose that much often. Like ADHD, but I guess it's kind of increasing because one of the reasons is more aware, which is a good thing. At the same time, it can be over-diagnosed, in some cases, because some of the kids, they can overcome through some, exercise, kind of outdoor exercise and meditation and try to focusing on maybe better parenting style. It can be overcome, maybe mild symptom of the ADHD in that case. But I think overall it's a good thing because we do more aware. That means we try to help other people and understand better. Yeah. Okay, so we are almost done. So I want to ask you one question. So we've been talking about all different kind of psychology, starting from chapter 1 to chapter 15. So remind you, all the due of your assignment is today. So please submit through the Blackboard. That's all your assignment. And next Thursday, you will take exam 5. Exam 5 is not comprehensive. It will cover chapter 13, 14, 15. So it's an online exam just like you did before. So you will do well. And thank you so much for taking my class. And please don't forget to do your course evaluation for me and this class. So one more thing is, what is psychology? I want to ask you, what is psychology?
The scientific study of mind and behavior.
Yes, yes, yeah. So I know we've been kind of talking a whole like a one semester, but if you remember that, I think that would be great. That would be great. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Yeah. So you are my great student, and I really learned a lot.